Here in Salem-Keizer Public Schools, we already have in place a policy in our elementary and middle schools where cell phones are off and away for the full day. Last year, we had some flexibilities for some of our high schools, which allowed them to use their cell phones during non-instructional time. Under the governor's new executive order, that is being limited, so our students will have their phones off and away in all of our schools for the full day. So our Yondr pouches are actually just one layer of how our schools implement the cell phone management plan. And so every school can decide if they would like to have Yondr pouches to support their students in keeping their phones off and away. All of our high schools this year are implementing our cell phone pouches, which will make it consistent across all of our high schools for students to be able to securely store their phones during the day. Students will find that this feels a little bit stricter because regardless of which school they're in, they won't be using their cell phones in our school buildings during lunch times or passing periods. But they will still have the opportunity, if they are on an open campus lunch, to take their cell phones with them during that time, and also when they're traveling to and from school. So at our elementary schools, as well as our middle schools who do not use the Yondr cell phone pouches, the policy is off and away all day. That was the same policy that we had in those grade levels last year as well. And so each school has their own policies and procedures for how they'll implement that. Lots of communication with families and with students, and then supportive practices if students break that rule in school to help them monitor the use of their cell phones. It might include things like checking in cell phones at the office, having conferences with parents, different ways in classrooms where students may put their cell phone into an envelope or a pouch to be stored for that class period. But each school is going to really look at what their school needs and implement a plan that works for them. So students have their pouch at the beginning of their day. Their pouch is unlocked. They put their personal electronic devices, including their cell phone, smartwatches, AirPods, any of those devices in. And then to lock, I'm just going to push this button. Now it's secured and locked. At the end of the day, students encounter this magnet, which is their unlocking device. They're just going to place it here, and it pops back open. Now it's open for them. They can release their devices, and it stays open until the following day. So the Yondr pouch allows students to keep their devices with them all day in their backpack or their locker. We suggest that students keep it with them in their backpacks or what they're carrying during the day, but it is secured so that they're not distracted by the phone, but they are able to keep it with them, as opposed to students having to turn it into the office or somewhere else where they're not actually able to keep it with them all day. We are still digging into the data from our first year of implementation of our Yondr pouches in particular. And so at our high schools as well as our middle schools implemented last year, one of the things that we saw in our surveys from staff as well as our surveys of students is an increase in overall engagement. All of our work and all of our policies around cell phones and cell phone management are focused on students engaging in their courses, in their classes all day, having their attention on learning. We know from research that the distractions of cell phones and electronic devices, as well as the impact on students of being on their personal devices lots of hours throughout the day, really don't support our academic goals for students. So we want to support our students by having cell phone management plans in place that help them be fully engaged in their learning every day.